Fresh out of jail, fixed to pick up the kids. It's been almost 3 months. Here we go. Come on, Riggsy boy. There they are. Parker in London.
Hi, sweetie. How are you?
Stop licking me.
There, get down, Hank. Hey, buddy.
Okay.
How are you?
I'm going.
Oh my gosh, look at y'all's hair. Handy. Hey, bud. Oh, how are you? Hey, buddy.
Have you lost pounds or lost pounds?
Actually, I've gained pounds up here.
Oh.
I got up to about 1,200 dips a day.
Wait,
I did an average of, I think, about 25,000 laps I walked while I was in jail. So,
Holy shit, man.
I was a little pale. I looked like the color of your shirt when I got out, but I'm good now. I'm just so glad to see you. Okay. It's gonna be all right, kids. I promise. Okay. All right, let's go. Let's go get set up.
Are you already riding late?
Oh yeah, same old place.
Howdy, howdy, howdy. How are y'all? Every time I watch that's from 11 years ago, oh my gosh, it just changes my entire mood. I'm really in a really chipper mood. And we finally had a milestone. That was the intro that I played yesterday. And finally, I got through a whole podcast without getting the video demonetized. I can't play any of those other ones because I made if you go watch the previous 3 or 4 podcasts that I've done, I made those intros like a long time ago, like a couple years ago. And I use software that it gave me the option to pick non-commercialized music, non-copyrighted music. And that's what I picked. That's why I picked it. It's just kind of a funky little beat in those. And now all those people went back and copyrighted their music, so I can't use them anymore. So I decided to use that one. And as of yesterday, we got a whole podcast out there that didn't get demonetized. And now, I love that video. That was the greatest hug I ever got. And maybe it's good for me. Maybe it's good for me to watch that video every time I go live. And I don't know. I'm not trying to get all sappy, but god dang, that was 11 years ago, and all my kids are grown now, and London hadn't spoken to me in 4 years and almost 5 years. Anyway, how are y'all doing? I guess before we get in, I know the rule. I hate the rule, but I know the rule. Y'all know how I feel about this begging for likes and subscribe. So I just thought, oh hell, I'll just make a joke out of it, just like I do everything else. Oh my, I just got over to the comment section. We've already got some people here. Logan Cochran. Seems like I remember you. Hello, Dorian Mabry. I saw, and there's Dan, and thank you for being here so much. I saw Sarah Jane. Some of these are names from like when we were doing this like 3 years ago. It's just nice to see some of the old names, and nice to see, and welcome to the new people. Hello, Charles Haynes. And Hurricane Girl made it back. She was mad at me yesterday, or maybe that's not the right word. You forgot to sing about ringing the notification bell. Yeah. Oh, you mean, yeah, well, I always do. I just kind of figured we've all been here. We all know the drill. We've all seen all the YouTubers. Hit the like, guys. Hit the notification bell if you want to see more content like this. It's just weird. It's just funny to me that I have to say it. I mean, I just figure you kind of know. If I liked something, I'd like it. I'd say, maybe I'd want to hear from more for this person. But I guess the algorithm, YouTube makes me do it. So hit the like, hit the subscribe, guys, because I'm a YouTuber and it helps my algorithm. So. What does demonetize mean? Oh, I always forget that I can put these up here. What does demonetize mean? It means take away the money. I am a YouTube partner, and I get paid when people watch my channel, and I don't get paid if I get demonetized. Root word money. And they take it away, because if you put up content that's got, I think you're allowed like 5 or 10 seconds of commercial music for fair use. They call it fair use. But if you have more than, I don't know exactly what the rule is, 5, 10, 30 seconds, then they put a copyright claim, because that's the digital world in which we live. And yeah, so at the moment, this is mostly how I make my living. I've got an old viral video from 12 years ago, and that's where the majority of it is, and it's not nearly as much as a lot of people think. But yeah. Charles Haynes, I'm doing well. Oh, good. I'm so glad you're not mad. Spoken like a true woman. Any emotion that a man accuses or asks if a woman's feeling, it's never that emotion. It's always a different emotion. So I'm glad you're not mad. You did say you're new here, and as you get to know me, I am a jokester, more of a cornball jokester, but I like to joke. So yeah, anyways, I'll take that off of there. Let's just put me. That way y'all can see my sexy physique for an old fart. I'm about to be 48 years old here in a couple weeks. And yesterday, a lot of people I noticed, well, there's two things. I only was planning on going about an hour on these daily or nightly live streams. And for some reason, and it dawned on me, that's how it happened last time. After about an hour, it really gets to going, and about the time I was going to hang up and call it a night, that's when people really get interested and start talking. I don't know why, but I noticed yesterday a lot of people, somehow we got on the topic of nutrition. And I thought, well, people keep asking what I eat all the time, and that was a topic that I was really, really confused about, and so I didn't learn jack squat about real nutrition till 3.5 years ago. I'd bought that sailboat and I moved to Florida. I bought it 4.5 years ago, but I lived in it for a year and I wasn't working out. I was sober, but the old gut was out to here. It was a big old nasty thing, and I hated it because I couldn't move very well. I mean, again, I felt great being sober, but I feel way better being in shape. Being sober is just one aspect of it. Getting in shape is another aspect. And in order to get in shape, eating right is crucial. Now, when you're young, most young people, like when I was young, when all my cheerings were young, you got an iron belly. You can eat anything and you stay, trim at least. But as you get older, I don't know how old everyone here is, as you get older, it just doesn't work that way unless you really, really work on it. And the good old public school system, BARF, they taught us the food pyramid and all the grains and the BS that they didn't teach us anything. They taught us how to be fat and weak. And that's not me being mean. That's me telling the truth. Because look around. I'm not trying to be mean to anybody in the comment section or anybody here. I'm never that type of bully that just goes out and likes to pick on fat people or obese people, whatever you want to call it. It's me. I'm just real direct. I don't see any point. I don't like having to beat around the bush to get my point across. But when I can talk about me, I used to be a chubs. I was 221 pounds. I had pencil arms, and now I don't have pencil arms, and I don't have a big fat gut. And I like it because now I can move. Now I'm mobile. Now I can do things. Now I can participate. Now I can defend myself. And I think that's where we're supposed to be. And as expensive as healthcare is, what we know, what Americans are taught is healthcare. See, that's another misnomer. We're taught what healthcare is. It's being on a plan, paying 5, 10, 15% of your annual income to some big monstrosity that tells you how to be healthy. I mean, it's like 1984 has come to life. I don't have a health care plan. I couldn't afford a health care plan if I wanted. People think, well, you got a viral video, you're a millionaire. Pfft. No, it doesn't work that way. Like, not at all. I make enough to get by, but there ain't no way I can afford health care. But that used to bug me. But the more I get in shape, the more I'm like, I don't go to the doctor anyways because I never get sick. And when I say that, people are like, oh, he's just saying that. He's just fluffing. He's just puffing. He surely gets sick, at least once a year like everybody else. No, I don't. And I didn't set out for that to be my goal. I didn't know that would be a result. But now that I'm sober and working out all the time and eating right, I don't get sick. I'm not saying I never will get sick. I'm sure I will someday, knock on wood. But for the last several years, I just don't get sick. Even before I got healthy, I never really got that sick when I did get sick. But I used, once a year I'd get something, a bug, as they call it. I don't even know if that's a real thing. I think that's just something our mothers used to say, all the mothers of the Gen Xers. All the boomer moms used to tell us, you got a bug? Well, he's got a bug. Got a 24-hour bug. Got a weak bug. Oh, it's a nasty bug. There's a big bug going around. And the longer I guess I need to have read my disclaimer here. I don't have a full disclaimer. I'll just say it. Let me add this. I made this little, let's see. Can y'all see that? Let's try this one. How's that? Can y'all see that? Is that better? I'm going to have to get over to my view where I can see it. Let's see. And keep in mind, this is a work in progress, this whole podcast talking to y'all. I don't really care how it morphs into. I just thought I'd pick a topic to talk about that people ask me about and then get to comments, but I don't mind getting to comments first. I am a one-man band here, so and I have, by default, I have a one-track mind. I can either talk about what I'm interested in or I can read comments, but typically I've never been good at both, but I am getting better. Let's see, Sarah or Dan asks, do you miss or crave any foods you stopped eating? Very, very seldom. Ice cream I do miss, and occasionally I do indulge in Tillamook. Tillamook's. Occasionally I do indulge. And I think that's okay. I don't beat myself up. But I also know my limits, because once I eat too much ice cream, like I was eating a tub a day for like a week in a row. And eventually I just don't feel good. I mean, I love ice cream. Absolutely love it. And if you're going to fudge, no pun intended, and actually cheat on yourself, and if you're going to eat ice cream or something you love, just try to find something that, like ice cream, for example, it's got cream, sugar, nuts, or chocolate in it. Try to find something that's got the lowest amount of ingredients possible, and preferably ingredients that you can pronounce. If it's got a list of 50 ingredients, half of which you've never heard of or you can't even pronounce, if you're going to cheat, don't cheat with that stuff. Hello, Mr. Tory. I never get sick except maybe every few years I catch a sickness. Never missed much school as a kid either. Well, you must be in shape. But now that I eat as clean as possible, as basic possible, I literally never get sick. All right. When I click over here so that I can see it, I cannot see your comments, but I'll try to scroll back and forth. Let me get, first of all, I'm going to ask real quick, since I've never used this before, can y'all see this? The first line being, how often do you get sick? How long are you usually sick? The duration. What are your usual symptoms? How do you typically treat your most common illnesses? And this is where I was getting at. I guess this goes with, I assume this goes without saying, but I have to say it. I am not a doctor. I'm not a lawyer. I'm not a counselor. And I sure ain't your mama. So do your own research. I'm just a guy on the internet that likes to blab. Okay, now I'm going to switch back over to live stream and see Charles Haynes. I see it clear. Colin Hackett, I see clear. Uh-oh, I can't see it all. I don't have any vision. Okay, well, that's I mean, I can barely see myself. That's why my screen is like huge. I've got like this 32-inch screen. I have to blow everything all the way up. And that's why if I was up closer to it, I could, but I'm about 5 feet away. And in my studio view, I can't see it. So I'm going to get over, and if y'all can, as long as y'all can see what I'm talking about, I'm going to get over on my view, and it's just basically a reminder of what I was going to talk to y'all about. So when I ask you about personal HIPAA type questions, it's not me trying to get you, to spill your guts on, this is me. Ask yourself this. How often do you get sick? I'll ask myself that. I never get sick. How long are you usually sick? I don't get sick, so it doesn't last at all. What are your usual symptoms? In the old days, it'd be much like everybody else: fevers, coughs, rashes, upset stomach, diarrhea, constipation, vomiting. But now that I don't get sick anymore, I don't have any of those. And then how do you typically treat your most common illnesses? Again, I'll have to answer what I used to do is lay down, drink water, chicken noodle soup. That's what my mother always made me. And just fluids. Yeah, and then just basically wait it out. Sometimes when I was little, obviously Mom would take me to the doctor. We'd take pills. As I got older, I rarely, if I did go to the doctor for being sick, I would, I guess, take whatever they gave me. But now I don't know. I never get sick, so I never go to the doctor. And I know what I say. I know I'm supposed to. They say, meaning the average person, it is talked about a lot that dudes my age are supposed to get a colonoscopy. And I'm here to tell you, it'll be a cold day in hell before I go voluntarily, preemptively to get a colonoscopy where some doctor sticks some probe up my rear end and probes around and checks for polyps. That's a word I just don't. A polyp. Polyp. Ugh. I'm not saying I never will, and I'll be certainly grateful that doctors exist if or when that time ever comes. If I have to have it, like if just some shit happens and I just have to have it, but I'm going to do everything in my power not to keep myself as healthy as possible. So yeah, I don't like that's an outie, not an innie for me. All right, next, what does your exercise routine look like? Do you get your heart rate up 15 to 45 minutes per day every day? I do. I do. Every single day. I never take a day off. The only way I may take a day off, like I haven't been in the gym in probably 3 or 4 months since I've been up here in Wyoming, but it's just because I don't have access to it. I'd have to drive like an hour just to get to a gym, and it's just not worth it. But I run. I took up running, and so I've learned I feel just as good by doing push-ups and sit-ups and running every single day. And the only times of the 4 months or so I've been up here, even when it's minus 20 or minus 30 degrees, as long as the wind isn't blowing, I'm running. I love the cold. I've literally had, I don't know, I've had at least probably 8 or 10 days, 12 days that were literally minus 20, minus 30 degrees. And as long as there's no wind, I go out and run in it. And it doesn't burn my lungs because I've just developed, I guess I got used to it. In the old days, I couldn't do that. But in the old days, I couldn't run 20 feet because it hurt because of my big old fat gut. That's a good question, Dannon. I'm glad you asked that. I will get to that at the bottom of this. And part of this is me. Again, I'm not used to this layout. So I'm just making sure I'm still here and y'all are still there and I hadn't lost anybody. Do I take supplements? Nope. Nope, I don't. I used to, but I don't. And I guess it depends on what you call supplements. Supplements, something that comes in a bottle that's compressed into a pill or a powder or something. Nope. What I call, I'll get to it. Let me click back over here. I'll get to that. What I consider food. Okay, what does your diet look like? These are literally, and this is it. I'm getting to it, Dan. These are the things I eat. This is literally 95% of what I eat in any given year. And it's taken me a while to get to this, to learn this. I learned a lot of this from Blaine, and I'll change it up, and you'll find if you decide to change, you don't have to go exactly what I do. I'm not saying you have to. This is just what I do. It works for me. If you want to try what works for me, if you want to try it for yourself, but this is how I view things. I have learned that everything that I was ever taught, I've just learned to assume that it was all bullshit, especially if it came from a public school. And so I've just decided to relearn everything. And this is literally right here. This is 98% of everything I eat in one whole year is right here. And it consists of beef, bacon, eggs, cheese, butter, yogurt. Chicken is fine. I've eaten plenty of chicken. I don't object to chicken. I just don't prefer it. The protein content just a little bit less than beef. But if you want to change beef or venison or something, you do you, boo boo. It doesn't bother me. But beef's handy. It's at the store. It's relatively inexpensive compared to buffalo. I love buffalo. I love elk. Elk is amazing, but that shit's really expensive. And if my ship comes in ever, then yeah, I'll go to that. But right now, it's just beef. So beef, bacon, eggs, cheese, butter, yogurt, and if you want to do chicken, it doesn't. That's up to you. But I usually don't. I don't buy it regularly, but I wouldn't object to it. This is what I consider food. Anything in there is what I considered food. Everything else after that, and this is quite literally 80% of what I eat. I said this is 98%, and that other 2% is when I occasionally cheat with ice cream, Or if I'm traveling and I want to eat a burger occasionally, or some really, really yummy, greasy Mexican food, which is my absolute favorite. I just simply don't eat it regularly. So that I'm including that 2% because going out to eat is just ridiculously expensive to me anyways anymore. And I can't afford it. I don't know how people do it. It's just ungodly. So what I consider food is beef, bacon, eggs, cheese, butter, yogurt, chicken if you want. That's 80% of my caloric intake, root word calorie. Of all the calories I eat, and it fluctuates. Sometimes I eat 1,500 calories a day if I want to be in a calorie deficit. Sometimes I'll eat as much as 4,000 calories a day, or possibly 5, depending, if I want to be in a calorie surplus, if I'm on a bulk, if I want to gain weight. But then when I'm, just kind of coasting, I don't really care to gain weight or lose weight. It's about 2,500 calories, give or take. And there's no real way to know what your body type is until you just start measuring it. And I'm not saying stay married to your scale, but it is a good indicator. You take your weight of yourself, every day, and you average it out over a week, and you compare. You keep track of all the calories you eat to the best of your ability. You average that out, and then you'll start noticing once you do it. You kind of get used to it, kind of like me in this podcast. You get used to weighing yourself, weighing your food, and you'll figure out where that balance is. Plus, it also matters how many calories you burn a day. If you only run 15 minutes a day, which is great, then you won't need as many calories as if to maintain a weight as if you ran, 4 hours a day. Because you run 4 hours a day, you're going to burn a hell of a lot more calories than if you only run 15 minutes a day. So next, now keep in mind, that is what I can, beef, bacon, eggs, cheese, butter, yogurt, and chicken. That's food. Everything else to me is supplements or veggies, or and even then, I don't eat very many vegetables. These are my extras. This is my vitamins. I call it my vitamins. Onions, garlic, and you can buy powdered garlic, but I don't because it just doesn't. It's not nearly as potent, in my opinion. And I just enjoy peeling it. I'll literally get a whole bulb and I'll peel all of it in one sitting, and I'll use half of it for 2 pounds of ground beef that I cook at a time. And a lot of people, you'll see them take a knife and they want to be real cute and push it with the knife and smash it. But if you've got man hands like me, I take those little pieces of the bulb and I just squish it. You just squish it like a grape. And then you peel all the outside off, and I'll do literally I always get bulb and clove mixed up. The bulb is the whole thing. The little slivers of the cloves, I think. So I'll take half a bulb, which could be anywhere from 10 to 20 little cloves. And anyway, avocado, sauerkraut, salt, pepper, oranges. I misspelled that. Drives me nuts. I'll fix it later. Oranges, limes, berries, bananas, and coffee. And ladies and gents, I give you 98% of what I eat in any given year, and that's it. The other 2, 3, 4% will be cheating on myself, going to restaurants or eating the burgers. And I'm going to get to the things that I don't eat here in a minute. And when I say I don't eat, you're not a horrible person if you eat a pizza. I just simply don't eat it. And there's a reason I don't eat it, is because there's a reason I eat this way and not the other way. And I'll get to the other way in a minute, but there's a reason I eat like this, because all this right here, beef, bacon, eggs, cheese, butter, yogurt, chicken, that is pure or mostly protein. And protein is key. Take a screenshot of this, and remember, protein is key. If you don't get enough protein, this is just my opinion, This is how Blaine taught me, and I've played with it, and it's true. It works. If you don't get protein, you won't build muscle. If you don't build muscle, you don't get strong. If you want to get rid of the fat, you got to replace it with something, and it's called muscle. When you build muscle, I mean, you have to have something. You can't just be skin and bones, because that's an illness in and of itself. If you've got too much fat, you're not healthy. Again, this is just my opinion, YouTube. I'm not a doctor. This is just my opinion. But all this right here, the beef, eggs, bacon, cheese, butter, yogurt, cheese, or chicken, that's your protein. The rest of it is the vitamins, and garlic, you just can't go wrong with it. Everything I've looked up, there's no such, from what I've found, you really can't OD on garlic. Onion, same way. Avocado, it's great for fiber. Now, sauerkraut, you may not like sauerkraut, but if you learn how to eat it, you can eat it cold or you can cook it in with your meal. I do both. I change it up because sometimes I like to eat it raw, and sometimes I get tired of that and I cook it in with my meal. And I don't always eat the sauerkraut with every meal, but here's the part where we're all gonna have to be big people. All right, I'm gonna switch back over and check on y'all. Limes. I'm glad you asked that. Curious, what do you do with the limes? I squeeze a lime in every pan of ground beef that I make. Every single one, because it just tastes delicioso. I love it. And I'm going to get to that too. Danny, you're just like perfectly asking everything that perfectly comes next. Did you cheat and break in and see my little chart there as before I made it? But where was that? Oh, sauerkraut. Put on your big people hat. Take your giggle box and turn your giggle box off, because we need to talk about the colon. Because have you ever been constipated? And no, please don't answer. That's a rhetorical question. Answer it to yourself. Answer is we all have. Everybody's had it. It's miserable. It's not a good feeling. And if you go to the store, you can find every kind of drug known to man at the OTC counter. And I don't take not one damn one of them ever. Ever. None of them. I've tried a bunch of them, maybe all of them. I tried a bunch of them. But I'm here to tell you, sauerkraut is God's gift to undoing constipation. It's like having a team of men going up inside you and just greasing the walls of everything inside your gut, and just the poop chute just goes boom. Make sure if you decide to take my prescription of sauerkraut, make sure you're either alone or your partner loves you a lot, like really, really loves you, because you're going to make a mess and it's going to smell awful, but you're going to feel amazing. And I was looking, I didn't realize, whenever I started eating sauerkraut and I noticed what it was doing, I was like, God dang, this is amazing. I just started eating whatever serving I just thought I wanted. And I got to looking on you can buy it in a jar. You can buy it in these little crisp bags. You can home make it yourself. There's literally, and if you make it yourself, there's literally only 3 ingredients in sauerkraut. It's cabbage, water, salt. That's it. And it's called fermented, and it's a fermented food. There's another name for it if you use cabbage, if you use like bell peppers or various kinds of peppers. They call it kimchi. I don't know why. I think someone just wanted to be cute, but it's just fermented food, not with sugar like alcohol is, but fermented with salt. My mother bought these. You can look on Amazon. You can buy these jars. You can get like, I don't know, 6-quart jars or 20-quart jars, or even probably bigger. And you literally just cut up a bunch of cabbage, whether you grow it your own or buy it from the grocery store. You just whack it all up. You cut it all up and you put it, and you get it in I like it fine. Some people may want bigger leaves, but if you make it yourself, you make it yourself. Anyway, you put it in there, put the water, put the salt, and you got this special lid. It's got this vent thing. You use the water seal, and you let it set for like, I don't know, 4 weeks or 6 weeks or 8 weeks, not refrigerated, all by itself, and it preserves itself. But anyway, if you look on the jar, I buy it by the jar because I don't have the means to make it at the moment. It says the serving size is 2 tablespoons. And when it comes to calories, you really don't have to worry about it because the entire jar, and I don't recommend eating the entire jar at once because you will probably regret it. But the entire jar has got like 30 servings, and all of it combined is only like 150 calories. It's like almost nothing. But hang on a second. The serving size that they recommend is 2 tablespoons. And if you've ever had a Reuben sandwich, a Reuben, they put just a little bit of sauerkraut on there. I would assume it's about 2 tablespoons. More than likely, it's not going to do what we're talking about, clean out the old Duke shoot. I was just serving up myself what I thought I want. I ate about a quarter of a jar, and it's a 2-pound jar. So I was eating about a quarter or about a half a pound of sauerkraut with my beef, onions, avocado sometimes, garlic, salt, pepper, and cheese. And that's when I discovered the magic of sauerkraut and what it does to you. I had no idea it was going to clean me out like that, but it does. And I don't know. I don't know if it does anybody else. Maybe I'm just an anomaly. Curious if you've ever tried it or if you ever want to try it. But yeah, I don't buy any over-the-counter laxatives, any of that, like absolutely none of it. I don't see the point because I don't know what's in it. It's a chemical, and I just don't take any kind of. I keep it as basic as possible. So anyways, let me get back over to my blank slate here. Oranges, limes, berries, bananas, coffee. You can think what you want about coffee. Some people love it. Some people hate it. Some people never drink it, but do coffee enemas. I think it's kind of gross. If you do the whole sauerkraut thing, you don't have to clean it out and worry about polyps. You don't have to worry about that. Okay, and then there's a couple things here. These are the things that I keep on hand for just to have a little bit of variety. Sweet potatoes. If you're going to eat potatoes, my recommendation is sweet potatoes or purple potatoes. Purple potatoes are really hard to find, but they don't just turn to starch, and they're like the white potatoes do. I do love olives. When I was a child, I hated olives. As I've gotten older, I love them. Black or green, doesn't matter. You can buy these jumbo olives that are stuffed with entire cloves of garlic or garlic and jalapenos. I don't eat them all the time, but once a week maybe, just to have a little change. I don't buy dill pickles often, but I love them. I'll keep them. Dill pickles are really expensive, so I don't normally get them. Tomatoes, I'll eat them. I don't object to them. I just don't keep them around much unless, like I said, my favorite food in the whole wide world is Mexican food. But it's Mexican food I've noticed is like 30% beef and 70% everything else that doesn't have protein. Therefore, I simply choose not to eat Mexican food usually, because I like to have about 80% protein and 20% everything else. And if you don't believe me, just go next time you go out to eat, look what is in the meal you're eating. Is it 80% beef, eggs, or chicken? Or is it more like 20 or 30% beef, eggs, or chicken, and then everything else? The key is protein. You got to have lots and lots of protein. I love jalapenos, but I just don't buy them very often. Sometimes I'll get them in the jar, and sometimes I like to make nachos. I know nachos, unless you put beef on it, like just good old greasy, cheesy nachos, which means I do eat corn chips occasionally. I try not to eat them because of the oil they cook them in, but I'm not going to just be a complete I'm not going to simply not enjoy some of the finer things in life. Like, who the hell doesn't like nachos? So I'll keep those little jarred nacho or jarred jalapenos. Fresh, if you can get them, that's even better, but they're a little hot. I take the seeds out. Coffee cream. I do occasionally use coffee cream, but just keep in mind, don't buy the crap that's got 15,000 ingredients in it. You can buy just pure cream and then pure honey or sugar if you like the sugar. And cream is great. I put it in my every now and then. I don't regularly do it, but I don't know, once a month or once a quarter. I may go a whole week or two, and that's all I put cream every day. But keep in mind, cream has very little protein, I think. I'd have to double check that. But either way, it is very high in calories. There's like 100 calories in a freaking tablespoon, and that's a lot. Like one slice of bread is like between 80 and 130 calories, depending on which brand and which type you get. Obviously, various spices. Spices are kind of almost spiritual, or with different areas of the world, like, they like their spices. So, knock yourself out on spices. If it came from the earth and it's a natural, normal spice that everyone eats, I just don't see a problem. I'm not claiming to be a spice expert, but I'll keep some around. Just I don't use them very often. And then popcorn. I don't eat it very often, but when I want to just have a little snacky snack, I'll eat it. But those are things I usually keep around just to have a little variety. Now, here's the things. Let me check on my chickens. Everybody's still there? Okay, we're still there. We're still good. So just want to make sure everyone's still there. Next, here's the things that I absolutely either never eat or very, very rarely. The big one being alcohol. That's an absolute hell no, ever, never, ever, ever, under any circumstances do I consume alcohol. Pizza, pasta, burgers, fries, corn dogs, bread, cola, pop soda, depending on if you're a Yankee or a Southerner, tater chips, cookies, cakes, candy bars, protein bars, juices, bagels, breakfast cereal, oatmeal or porridge if you're from England, granola bars. Those are some of just off the top of my head. Occasionally, again, I love pizza. I just don't eat it often. If I'm traveling, or if in the rare instance I actually go see a friend or something and they have pizza, I don't object to it. I like it. I love it. But pizza, what's the main ingredient in pizza? It's the dough. There's not a lot of protein. There's a shitload of calories, but there's not a lot of protein. Same with pasta. I love spaghetti. I love lasagna. Love Italian spaghetti. Oh my God, I love it. But pasta, the pasta itself has absolute or virtually no protein. Lots of calories, no protein. Burgers, love burgers. I love bread, but buns, hamburger buns, they've got tons and tons and tons of calories, no protein. Fries, that's again, if you want to make your own fries, your own way, great, and you cook them in like tallow or something, or at the very least olive oil. Most fries you get from the usual stores, they cook them in, well, I don't know what they cook them in. It's junk. But corn dogs, processed meat covered in batter. And the meat, you're not sure what you're getting, but the batter, you're going to have twice as many calories as you do in just the meat. And the little tiny corn, the dog itself, it doesn't have a lot of. You're looking for protein. Bread, I absolutely love garlic bread. Very seldom eat it. Love it. Don't eat it because high calorie, very, very little protein. Cola, pop soda, again, depending on where you're from, absolutely never, ever, ever. I don't see the point. Water's great. Water's fine. Water's healthy. Most of these have just a bunch of junk in them. Alcohol, duh. Tater chips, again, you're getting the the white potatoes that just turn to starch. They're usually cooked in an oil that if you pay attention to any kind of political news at all, you know about RFK and what all he's doing, getting rid of all the seed oils. Cookies, obviously I love cookies. Who doesn't? Cakes, obviously I love cakes. Who doesn't? Candy bars, I love candy bars, but guess what those things don't have? They don't have hardly any, if at all, any protein. They got lots of sugar. Who doesn't love sugar? But sugar, in my opinion, excess sugar is a huge problem that causes inflammation. Again, that's just my opinion. I'm not a doctor. I'm not making for me, I don't eat sugar or very little sugar. There's nothing wrong with sugar. I eat some sugar. I'm fine with it because it does have plenty of energy. In my opinion, for me, there's nothing wrong with sugar as long as you burn it all off. If you eat 500 calories of sugar in a day, you just make sure you burn it all off in that day. But that's just me. Oatmeal, I love oatmeal, just don't eat it. It's no protein. Granola bars, again, and okay, juices. I don't see the point in drinking juice that's you never know where it's been. They've crushed it and they mix it all. It's processed. If you want orange juice, eat an orange. It's really that simple. If you like grapes, I don't really eat grapes that much. I might occasionally, or raisins. Just if you want grape juice, just eat a grape. Bagels, same thing, just bread. Breakfast cereal, there's no telling what's all in that crap. Usually they've got a really, really long list of ingredients in breakfast cereal. Absolutely junk, no protein. Not junk, maybe I'm being a little harsh, but there's very little protein. Next time, if you don't believe me, just dump out your breakfast cereal and look at the protein content and then just look at it. Does it look like it has much protein? No, it doesn't, unless it's full of beef jerky chunks. And who would want to pour milk on that? All right, smash the like and subscribe, guys. Typical meal for me. All right, here is a little, if you want to take a screenshot of this right here, this is what a typical meal for me looks like. It doesn't matter if it's breakfast or lunch or dinner. I've tried eating 6 and 7 times a day. I've tried eating once a day. And I've tried fasting, which I highly recommend. Fasting, in my opinion, is great. Every now and then. You don't have to do it all the time, but if you just get feeling a little funky, just, not quite in your groove, and you're maybe putting on a few pounds, and you just fast. Fast for 48 hours. Won't kill you. And some say it actually, again, YouTube, not a doctor. Some say it eats up potentially harmful things, such as the C word. Let me check on my chickens. Is everybody still here? Yes. All right. They're still commenting, and nobody's saying, you're gone. So I'm assuming everyone's still here. All right. If you want to screenshot this is a typical meal for me. Beef, eggs, onion, garlic, salt, pepper, lime, butter, eggs, pepper jack cheese, and sauerkraut. I'm not sponsored by anybody, but Tillamook makes these 2-pound blocks of various types of cheeses, and they're all amazing. And I love the pepper jack, so that's what I buy. And no one has sponsored me to say that. I'm not sponsored by anybody, like, at all. Nobody would. I mean, look, we've only got like 15, 20, or 30 people here. Preparation: peel half of a clove of garlic or slice or chop. Chop the onions, sear, covered in a pan for about 5 minutes with the butter. The onions typically take a little bit longer to cook, for me anyways, than the meat. So I just put the garlic, onion with the butter about 5 minutes ahead of time and cover it. Add the ground beef, cook on high until browned, uncovered. You got to let some of the meat, the water get out. I sometimes eat the cheese raw with it. Sometimes I like to just get 3 to 4 ounces of pepper jack cheese and dice it and melt it, and if sometimes you get it a little crunchy, they add the high heat when cheese burns a little bit. To me, adds an awesome flavor to it, and I love it. Okay, and you continue continue cooking covered on high heat until it's all melted, and then I'll add anywhere from 3 to 6 eggs and cook it covered until it's hardened. Serve with sauerkraut. That's it. That's literally a typical meal for me. When I'm feeling bulky and I feel like I want to put, like at the moment, all I can do is run. I still haven't got my weights in, so you probably here lately I don't add 6 eggs or 9 eggs even. I add just 3. And you can look, the typical egg I think's got that's what, 7 grams of protein, is that right? Or 4, I can't remember. Like 55 calories and 5 grams of protein. So anyway, here lately, I'll just add about 3 eggs. If I want to go on a bulk, when my weights get here, particularly, and I'm doing PPL, push, pull, legs, I'm burning more calories in addition to my running, I'll probably bump it up to 6 eggs. And then yogurt with berries. I love yogurt with berries and bananas. You can buy yogurt with added sugar, which I love. I actually prefer it but it's got lower protein. Or you can buy the no added sugar, and it's got a lot more protein. It's good, but I don't know. Sometimes I just like a little bit of sugar. That's just me. But again, I've learned for me, as long as whatever sugar I eat, as long as I burn it off that day, I never have inflammation. I don't even have chronic back pain anymore. I've had chronic back pain my whole entire life except the last 3 years. As soon as I started working out, my pain level went from a 6 to 10 daily to a 2 to 3. And when I started running and really honing in and focusing on sticking to my diet, very, very low sugar, many days I'll go and I don't have any sugar at all, and I'm fine. In fact, those are the days when I have 0 back pain. Now, I'll eat 2 to 3 oranges and a banana. It depends on obviously oranges and bananas and berries have some kind of sugar in them. Depending on who you ask, some people are going to argue with you no matter what the F you say. I eat oranges. I like oranges. I eat bananas. I eat mangoes. And there's always going to be someone, well, that's sugar. There's always going to be a critic. And I just don't I'm trying to watch my language. I don't effing care if you don't like my opinion on sugars and oranges and not eating sugar. You eat what you want to eat. I honestly don't care what anybody eats. I'm presenting what I like to eat, what works for me, and I never get sick. And outside of just normal aches and pains that everybody has, stub a toe, a little stiff neck, sometimes I sleep funny, which I have. Outside of that, I never get sick, and I don't have chronic pain. I don't have chronic back pain anymore. I can literally run 10 miles. My record set about 4 months ago. I ran 10 miles without stopping. It was hard, but I did it. So another meal that I'll have is sometimes I literally I'll buy the entire package of bacon. If you can find nitrite free, they use I think they use celery for a preservative, if that's the right word. It has celery in it, but you can buy it without the nitrite. If you can't find it without it, in my opinion, I could be wrong and I may change later, but I'll still buy it. If I can find it without any preservatives such as the nitrite, I do. If I can't, it's not at this point in my life, it's no big deal. Maybe when I'm 70, I'll be like never and no nitrites whatsoever. A nitrite expert that may watch this they can educate you or me a lot better than I can. Anyway, I'll cook up the whole pound or pound and a quarter of bacon. I'll cut up my glorious pepper jack cheese and slice up an avocado, and that's it. That'll be like dinner. And it is amazing. My mother always cooked breakfast for me when I was a kid, and she'd serve like one or two, maybe three pieces of bacon. I ate the whole damn thing, all, depending on if it's thick or thin sliced. I ate all 15 or 20 slices. I ate the whole thing in one sitting with pepper jack cheese and an avocado. And it's amazing. I just love it. And again, you can always mix and match any of these in any variety. Sometimes, again, if you want to boil the cheese slightly or, melt it slightly or char it on bottom. Some people I've noticed started making, they'll put these flat, ground the cheese or grate the cheese, and they'll cook it and they'll scrape it over and they'll make like a cheese tortilla instead of a flour tortilla. It's a cheese tortilla. And I'm here to tell you I don't do it all the time, but the flavor that charred cheese makes, if you ever eat a lasagna and you pick off the crusty edge, and if you like, it's kind of hard, but if you like that, that's what it is. And it just tastes amazing to me. So anyway, hey, oh my God, we're 55 minutes in. We're almost to the hour. Let me get a drink. Hello, Panna. Long time no see. Is cheese bad? To me, it's not. I mean, I guess if it rotted in your fridge and it turned bad, it'd be bad. But in my opinion, like cheese, like real cheese, not that fake crap, those little Kraft singles. Yeah, in my opinion, that shit's terrible. But real cheese, pepper jack, Munster, blue cheese. When I was talking about beef, I buy ground beef at the moment because it's like $6 a pound or $5 a pound. If my ship comes in, my ass is eating T-bones every day. And if you've ever had a T-bone or one of those, what do they call them, tomahawks? If you ever go to like a Ruth's Chris Steakhouse and they've got those tomahawks or those New York strips, get them to put some blue cheese, cook it with the blue cheese. Oh my, I always hated blue cheese. I thought, ugh, mom would put on salads and I hate it. Oh, that's another thing. I don't eat salad. I don't object to salad. I just don't eat salad. There's an old man that used to work with a guy that I used to work with, and he would say, salad is what food eats. And I remember thinking that's an odd thing to say, but now that I've figured out that the food pyramid is full of crap, I don't ever eat salads. Again, I don't object to salads. And if I go to Ruth's Chris, I may get a side salad, and there's nothing wrong with having a salad. And if I do eat a salad, I would use, like when Mom, she loves salads. And she always has dressings, but look at the calorie intake of dressings. There's like 100 or 150 calories per tablespoon. And think about how many times when you dump that shit all over your salad, you could put 5, 6, 7, 800 calories in your salad and not even realize what you're doing. It kind of defeats the whole purpose of eating a salad. Again, I don't object to salad. I don't eat it. I like them, but I just don't eat them. And if I do, I use the blue cheese crumbles. That is my dressing. That gives it a little flavor. That's just me. Let's see, who is that? Brian's channel. Have a good night. Okay. I guess maybe you said something earlier. And I quit dairy products too. At one point I did quit dairy. I've since gone back to, I don't buy milk. It's not my thing. But cheese, because if you think about it, cheese is just fermented milk. Alcohol is sugar, or alcohol is fermented grains and sugars. And kimchi and sauerkraut is fermented cabbage. And if you think about it, that's basically all cheese is, just fermented milk. And I don't, like I said, I don't drink milk as, the milk itself, like for cereal milk, but in the form of cheese, love it. I absolutely love it. Let's see, boiled eggs, also a protein. Do you eat those? Well, of course, eggs all the time. Let's see. Every time I go to Buffalo, New York, every year I get buffalo wings. I was wondering if buffalo wings is either good or bad. It's just chicken. That's all it is. If they usually cook it in batters, which is just bread, and it's usually deep fried in oil. So you get the bread, no protein, the oil, no protein, and very little chicken. When chicken's, I've been to Buffalo Wild Wings. I love it. I just don't eat it often because the bread, no protein, the oil, no protein, all those sauces that are so yummy, no protein. The objective is you got to get the protein within it's what they call your macros, staying within your macros. The objective is to get as much protein in your window of calories while also getting the vitamins and nutrients you need from like oranges or limes or the antioxidants you get from, berries or garlic. You're going for the protein. Like wild tigers, you're going for the protein. And I cook steak with butter instead of oil. Outstanding. That's exactly how I cook it. Every time I start either ground beef or steak, that's what I start it with. And if I need to stir fry something like the onions, obviously, start with the butter. Tommy Shaw. Hey, Caleb watched your YouTube video 11 years ago. I remember it. And for some reason, YouTube suggested it to me today. And here I am. Well, welcome, Tommy. Thanks for watching and thanks for showing up here, man. I've been going on for just over an hour, and I'm talking about my diet since that's what a lot of people ask me about. And as you can see, I weighed in today. I don't mind. I'll tell you all every day. I weighed in today. I'm 195. About a week and a half ago, I told Blaine, I said, dude, I'm going to eat whatever the hell I want, which is all that stuff there. And I was eating ice cream, not going to lie, until I hit 200. And then I'm going to back off. So I hit 200 about a week and a half-ish ago and quit no more ice cream, started trimming down my portions. And today I'm at 195. Which is about 10 pounds. I do have, I got a little more there than I would normally have. Let's see, everything's backwards. I got a little more there than I would normally have, but I don't worry about it. Keep in mind, these pictures you see, like the one I use to advertise, or occasionally I'll post pictures of myself flexing or whatever. Almost no one stays at maximum 100% peak, which is where a lot of my glamour shots are. Almost nobody, especially women are the worst about leading you to believe that their profile picture, they're always just perfectly beautiful. Their skin is just perfect. Their cleavage is perfect. You can get there and maintain it for a while, but don't think that you have to get in just perfect, lean, 5% body fat and just stay there all the time. I guess some people can, but most people and I've read articles like all these bodybuilders that when they call it the off season, they take breaks, they eat junk, they chill out on they don't go so hard on their workouts, and it's okay. You don't have to be at peak. I don't post my glamour shots or whatever just for the sake of, bragging. I post them because it makes being in shape makes me feel good. Having physical ability to pick things up, and if I need to crush some little asshole. I've got the strength. I just like being able to crush it if I have to. But don't think that you just have to stay in perfect. And I'm specifically talking to women. Women, yes, they use filters and they online, or in my experience with anyway, they use that more because they kind of take things harder, which is fine. And I'm telling women, don't think you have to be always perfect all the time, always, unless you just want to and you like it. It's okay if your normal body weight, let's say you're a woman 5'6", and your normal body weight that you love being in so you can fit in your size 2 is 120 pounds. If you get up to 127, 130 because you just want to relax a little bit, stay in your macros, keep your protein high, keep your heart rate up a minimum of 15 minutes a day. Preferably get 30 or 45, but a minimum of 15 minutes a day. You don't feel like you have to stay in peak all the time or you're not healthy. That's an illusion. Now, you may be getting pressure from your boyfriend or your husband or from your goofy girlfriends online, and your girlfriend's never going to, I would assume, say it directly, but a lot of people have that competition, posting bullshit, and I'm in better shape than this bitch, and I'm going to be better shape than this bitch. You may get peer pressure, but I've just learned that peer pressure is just a bunch of bullshit. I've got a moral code that I live by. I'll never intentionally bully anyone, but I will call out BS behavior as I see it. And when I call out like obesity, it's not me trying to be mean to people. It's me trying to saying, wake up. It's do or die. This is serious. This is your health we're talking about. You're men walking around with those little bitty pencil arms and those big old guts. It's gross. It's not funny. It's not cute. Having the ability to outdrink anyone under the table is not bragging. It's stupidity. It's unhealthy. Get in the gym, get strong, lose the gut, and learn to be able to be the protector that your family and your girlfriend or your wife or your children or your grandchildren are relying on you to be. Because if you're big and fat, you can't defend yourself adequately. I'm not saying there's not guys out there who can whip my ass. I guarantee there are. There's loads of them. Loads of dudes that can whip my ass. I know there is. But I also know this. Anyone that's going to come try to jump me or jump me and my future grandkids, they may beat me, but they're always going to think twice. They're going to see that old effer, that old man with that gray hair. He might look old, but god dang, I saw the guns on that guy. I could take him, but he might just whip my ass. And then again, I might be carrying too. You never know. But you'd be surprised at the fights that you don't have to get into. If this is my experience, people look at me different when I had a big fat gut versus when I am like I am now. I've watched interviews on various channels or wherever, and these people would interview these rapists in prison, and particularly child rapists. And it was really profound to me that a lot of these rapists were actually pretty open about who they would target, and they would target the weak. And if a child had a father in his life, particularly a father that was jacked, that kid was off limits. They weren't going to mess with that. They're going to go for the weak. I mean, think about any predator in the wild. If you watch an African safari video or a polar bear video or grizzly bear, I mean, yeah, they'll occasionally take on the biggest if that's all there is. But what do these big tigers and lions and bears usually go for? the babies. They go for the weak. That's what bullies and predators typically do because it's an easy target. If that's what they either, in the human sense, they like it because they get a thrill out of picking on people, they're going to always think about back in school. The kid that got picked on, the fat kid, the one with the glasses, little dorky, the one that was weak, couldn't defend himself, become the opposite of that. And you may still be a dork because I am a dork. I know I'm a dork. But I got guns, and I'm not saying I'm the biggest guy in the world. Obviously, there's loads of people bigger than me, but for my old ass, I've got some decent guns. And now that I've been running, I've got some sexy legs. You can't really tell it with my deal. Well, you can kind of tell it. That's my calf muscle. Like, that's literally my calf muscle. It's just, I've never had that my entire life, but I like it. So I have to go now. Good night from Cincinnati. Good night. Tommy Shaw might lose, but they better bring a bunch of them. Oh, you're talking about in the fight? Yeah, I might lose too. And I've never for a minute. People have said, well, you're just bragging. You think you can whip anybody. You're just arrogant. No, I'm not. I'm getting in the shape like this for my personal being, but I'm also doing this because I know a lot of people come here as a divorced mom. They got her ass kicked in family court, or a divorced dad. It's usually the dads that got his ass kicked in court, or it's a child of divorce and they've always have been in between the fighting, which gave them anxiety and gave them mental problems, which gave them physical problems, which kept these kids, usually, not always, but oftentimes, fat or obese. And I'm just here to show the divorced dads that have gotten their asses kicked. If you'll stick with it, you can get through it. You can make better choices than I did. I turned to alcohol to deal with the problems, and I wished I hadn't done it. I wished I would have had the mentality. I wish somebody would come up to me a long time ago when I was 221 pounds with pencil arms and said, Caleb, you're pathetic. Caleb, you're weak. You're fat. You can't run. You've got chronic pain. Your back's always out. You're out of shape. You need to eat protein. You need to quit being a fat ass. You need to quit drinking your problems away. I wish someone would have told me that. And so, again, I'm not here to insult people for the thrill of telling a fat joke, though fat jokes are freaking hilarious. But I love all kinds of jokes, even the most, I like dark humor jokes. I can't tell them here because YouTube will ban me, but New York is too loud. What does that mean? New York City? I'll never go back. I've been there a couple times. I don't like it. Canadian guitarist. I recently just lost my large intestine at 29 years. Oh, wow. Do you care to elaborate? That's awfully young. Was that a car wreck or an accident, or was that you not taking care of yourself, if you don't mind me asking? We're at an hour and 13, but I would normally go, but I'm curious about this. If y'all want to stick around, as long as I've got a voice left. Ulcerative colitis. I assume that means you've got some kind of ulcer in your colon. I don't know anything about that. Oh man, I forgot to. Well, no, okay, I've got it down here at the bottom. No one came in today, but we've had a couple people call in, and you can live chat with me if somebody wants to live chat with me. It's open. There's a link under the. Hang on a second. There's a link on this channel under the post section for members, memberships. If you become a member. There's level 1, 2, and 3, but just basic $4.99 if you want to become a member. There's a link there. If you would, anyone, it's a little late now, but I meant to, like I did with the like and subscribe thing, I meant to bring that up. But that is why I put that little thing down there, little creepy crawly at the bottom, right there, wherever it's at. Canadian Guitarist. It was only my second ever flare up, but at the time my family forced me to go to the hospital. I needed 5 bags of blood. Ugh. It's similar to Crohn's. Okay, I know. I went to school. I got a friend of mine. He had Crohn's disease, and I'm not an expert on it, but he had a really hard time, but he beat it. I don't know exactly, but I still keep up with him on Instagram, and he's every bit as jacked as I am. But it's similar to Crohn's disease, but it's severe inflammation of the bowels and bleeding ulcers. I ended up having a tiny, tiny hole or something because I had gas outside my bowel. Oh, my gosh. But I'm started to see... Oh, but I've started to see so many people are having their bowels removed. It's scary. It must be shit in our food and is starting to destroy us. Yeah. I don't know what your lifestyle's been like, but that is exactly Canadian Guitarist. And I'm sorry that happened to you. That is awfully young to have that happen to you. That is exactly why I talk about what this whole podcast today was, what I eat, which is basically 15 basic ingredients, and that's it. And the importance of getting your heart rate up a minimum of 15 minutes a day. I'm convinced, and I've often been told I'm a conspiracy theorist and been presented with tinfoil hats, but I'm okay with that. I've always suspected that we aren't supposed to be eating all the bullshit we've been eating, all that crap that just lined up. I go to a grocery store now, and most of the stuff that I see on those aisles, it just looks like poison to me. Because in my opinion, it is. And so I thought, I've actually gone back and I would look on the ingredients list of things that I used to just throw in my basket and eat just because I thought it was okay. And you go and add up. And I was eating probably 300, 400, 500, 600 ingredients regularly. And it just dawned on me, if this was 500 years ago, 1,000 years ago, would I eat 500 different ingredients in any given week or month? No, I'd probably eat whatever I could harvest. A deer, maybe if I was fortunate, a cow, a salmon out of the ocean. I'd eat some berries if I could find them. And I thought, you know what? Maybe there's something to that. Maybe I don't need to eat 500 different types of ingredients. What if I just got down to the basics? And that's how I arrived at the 15, 20, if you want to add up the various berries or the occasional olives and dill pickles and popcorn, 20, 25 basic ingredients. That's exactly why I do it. Oh gosh, I'm getting behind. Canadian Guitar. Shortly after I had the surgery, I ended up needing an emergency surgery because I had bowel obstruction. And a few days before that, I found out my childhood friend died in the hospital with the same. Dang. Let's see. Hang on, Farmer. I'll get to you in just a second. Let me finish this thing. And the doctor misdiagnosed him with a hernia, but he really had bowel obstruction, and he died because of it in the hospital. It was horrid. Canadian Guitarist. A, I'm sorry to hear that. And B, I don't know how long. I don't know if you heard. If you want to listen to my portion on this about sauerkraut, I've had bowel obstruction. I've been constipated, and it's a miserable feeling. And I don't ever take any of those things they sell over the counter. Not doctor advice, not, but this is just what works for me. Sauerkraut. I don't care how man of a man you are. If sauerkraut affects you the way it affects me, you can eat about a good 8 to 16 ounces of good old plain Jane simple sauerkraut with your meal. I don't care how strong of a man you are. It will just, you better be alone because you're going to make a big old mess. It will clean you out. Damn, I don't know of anyone who has had their bowel removed, old or young. I've known a few. Not that young. Now I have my small intestine stitched outside my body, and I have to buy extremely expensive ostomy supplies. It's like $28 Canadian to replace one bag, and you can only shower like twice. Jesus. Oh my gosh. I am so sorry to hear that. Comes off and you have to replace it. It's insane. Big monopoly. There's microplastics in like everything now. It's so bad. Yes, absolutely. That's why I often say if it comes in a bag, a box, or a can, I try my best to avoid it. Obviously, my ground beef's going to have a saran wrap. There's nothing I can do about it. If I had my way, I'd go slaughter my own cow by myself and do the butchering and put it in a wax paper and do it myself. I'm just not, unfortunately, I'm not in the position to do that, but you're exactly right. Microplastics is a bad thing, and not to mention everything else. The crap they're spraying in the skies. And I'm going to try not to get banned or zapped on YouTube, but you can't tell me that shit's good for us. There's just no way. Speaking of fish, how come nobody talks about the Fukushima anymore? Good question. There's good documentaries about that. I'm pretty positive it's still leaking radiation in our ocean to this day. Yeah, that happened, in the late 2010s, I think. I don't remember. I remember when that happened, though. They had that meltdown. It was as bad as or maybe worse than the one that happened. What's the one that happened in Russia? Chernobyl. Except Chernobyl was inland, but the Fukushima one, it's like right there on the ocean. Thailand 79. Thailand, Caleb, how are you doing, Thailand? I'm great, Thailand. Canadian guitarist, my bowel obstruction was because of scar tissue from surgery. They told me it would take 10 to 15 years for it to happen. It happened to me within 2 months. Dang. My childhood friend's name is Caleb, and that's why I thought of it. Oh. A few years ago when I looked up Fukushima radiation, British Columbia, Canada was already seeing salmon was deformed and had so much radiation it isn't safe to eat. That is just a crime against humanity, the poisoning that they're doing to us. Not to get all tinfoil hat. You ever heard of the Deagle report? I probably shouldn't even talk about it because I don't want to get zapped. But if you get bored, use your favorite search engine of choice and look up the Deagle report and what the Deagle report said about the population of the United States by the end of 2025. Thought it was kind of an interesting thing that got leaked. Well, even the drinking water that most animals we eat and drink, microplastics. Yep, unfortunately, and I don't know what to do about it. I mean, microplastics is making a lot of men infertile. Yep, I believe it. I've certainly read that. Last I heard about them trying to put an end to the Fukushima leak, they was sent a robot, but it melted from the heat, so they gave up. Yeah, there's a documentary on the Chernobyl, and it kind of the same thing. So God made a farmer. I quit buying water bottles because of the microplastics, especially when the bottles are hot in a car. Bought a 3-part tabletop water filter like some houses use, safer when drinking a gallon per day like I do. Yeah, I in very few places I've ever lived have I ever been able to drink the tap water, but Wyoming, and I once had a girlfriend in southern or eastern Idaho, which from here is like 3 hours. The water naturally from here is just amazing. But anywhere else I've ever lived, I've always had to have some kind of filtration because I just can't stand the water. What is the best ingredient to eat? What do you mean? That's what I've been talking about this whole time. Well, just go back and take screenshots. Y'all, I'm going to have to get off here. My voice is kind of going. We're at an hour and 26, but I will be back. Well, tomorrow's Sunday. I don't know. I may come on. I'm not sure. Hello, Brooklyn. I think I remember you. Sorry I'm late. Well, I'm sorry you're late too, and I've got to get off here because my voice is going, and I've got to pee like a Russian racehorse. So sorry if that's TMI, but if I keep doing this regularly, I'll probably need to take off a day. Since I haven't even been on here a week, I may come on tomorrow, it's Sunday, and other than that, I will be here just daily. And if y'all are like this, like and subscribe. If you know anybody that appreciates this sort of blunt talk, just pass it along to them. And otherwise, I shall see you mañana. Take care. Bye.